So, let's go ahead and update you guys with what's been going on with episode 3. Obviously, the big piece of news, if you've been following us on Twitter for the past couple of days, is that the rough cut has been finished. And it clocks in at about 21 minutes, which is about 2 minutes shorter than it was originally planned to be. I hope that that means that we have a much leaner episode this time around, and that the pacing is really good, because for those of you guys who have been asking questions as to what the hell is going on, believe me, episode 3 is going to be your episode. One of the things that I wanted to do when I sort of took over the editing for episode 3 and kind of understood that, hey, I'm going to have probably the biggest hand in controlling what this thing kind of looks like at the end of the day. One thing that I wanted to do was make the psychic flashes a lot more chaotic, make them a lot more violent, something that was going to really sort of hit people whenever it happened. And so there were certain things that I was experimenting with, certain effects in Final Cut Pro. And so what I have right now set up throughout the episode is that when the psychic flash first starts out, we have Kay. She's barely starting to experience whatever pain she's going through. And so the pain itself is starting very small, and you're sort of getting little pops, little peaks into the sort of telepathic realm, and then it sort of stops. And then as the pain starts to build up more and more, the connection into whatever telepathic world she's entering into becomes greater and greater, and the light starts to increase, and the effect grows larger, and the sound gets distorted until you have this big flash. And then it just slides down. It goes away. And when reality is back, the effect is gone. And so I'm hoping that this kind of brings about the idea that the psychic realm isn't really stable. It's filled with a lot of noise, and that looking into somebody's head at first is not the most comprehensible experience, that it takes a couple seconds before you start to really kind of get into an orderly set of what's going on and the information that's there. And our biggest challenge right now is to really emphasize that kind of thing by finding a lot of things that you have no idea what they are. They're just pieces of orange juice being poured into the bottom of like a plastic bowl or something. Just stuff that makes no sense but looks really wild. And so we're pushing towards finding those things and then manipulating them to have different colors, and just really making these moments kind of unpleasant. And then we're also experimenting with sound effects. So if you can't tell, a lot of what we've been wanting to do with the psychic flashes is throw in a lot of electronic sound effects, things like TV static, with the kind of stingers, the sort of moments where you get these brief flashes of nothingness. I've been trying to experiment with a lot of electronic humming. So you get this sort of boom, and then it just sort of goes away. And then when you have a full-blown psychic flash, you have a lot of TV static to sort of emphasize that build-up moment before it finally happens. And so I'm hoping that this sort of makes the experience more enjoyable for you guys. So that's it for our update this week. Next week, I'm going to show you guys the whiteboard, and I'm going to have a big giant diagram up there for you guys to look at. And it's going to be talking about a pretty heavy subject. We're going to be going into basically the future of the show and where we're headed and what kind of possibilities are there, both good and bad. So if you guys are definitely into this show, I encourage you guys to come back next week. But that's it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will see you then.